you all for coming, and thank you for allowing me to share some of my experiences and insights with you. I bring to you today the topic of spread your wings, and this is very closely related to, would you say, the feeling of freedom. When you spread your wings and imagine that you're flying, you feel this lightness, and lightness versus heavy, right? And so this feeling is something that I strive and I thrive at, and in every aspect of my life. So I bring to you today the medicine of the hummingbird. To me, the hummingbird is my spirit animal. It represents endless energy, and the hummingbird is one that is so tiny, but it flits and flies from flower to flower and drinks the nectar, sweet nectar of life. And when it does that, it gives us this feeling of joy and adventure, because it is just going out every single day, having to look for so much sweetness in order to just power its wings. And its wings flutter so fast in actually an infinite pattern, which is really interesting, because to me, life is about infinitely moving from our creative phase to our rest phase, to our creative phase, to our rest phase. And so I take the medicine of the hummingbird into my daily life, and it allows me to stay curious, I stay inspired, and also following my intuition. So the hummingbird has discovered all these flowers that it can go to every day, or plants that have blooming flowers, because the flowers die. And but in order to feed its voracious appetite, so that intuition that guides it is something that I also take into my daily life. And then of course the flexibility to change. And as I mentioned, the wings, they are able to switch their flight pattern really quickly. So I live in a world of metaphors. To me, metaphors are the clues to how we crack the puzzle of life. And as we live life, we also embrace everything that nourishes us. And to me, the Young Living lifestyle nourishes me to the core. So, who wants to live your truth? Yes. Who wants to access freedom in your mind, body, and spirit? Yes. And who wants to experience joy in the present? Yeah, absolutely. And who wants to fly towards our vision? Yes. Okay, so the beauty of it is we can do all of that through Young Living essential oils. And we don't have a life where this is my life, this is Young Living. It is all of it. All of it allows us to achieve all of that. Isn't that cool? Yeah. So, look at this little girl. And for you guys, do you remember yourself as your little girl, wearing fairy wings, believing that you can fly, believing that you are in that magical world of plants, the medicine of nature? So I want everyone to stand up. Some music. You are going to recall that little inner child within you, and as you do that, you're going to do your vision of a flight. We're just going to do a very short flight, and that requires you to leap. That leap today is very, very easy. It's just the idea that I don't care what my neighbor thinks of me. So we take little steps at a time to overcome whatever fears we have. So today's fear may be, oh, this is going to be silly. But I invite you. We could do little flits and, flaps of the wings, or we could soar, or we could like go from side to side. And I know there's not enough space, but we'll just do it for like 30 seconds. So just go ahead, recall the inner child within you, and fly. Right? And who's gonna flap their wings really hard? And who's gonna be so flexible that you can switch directions anytime, right? And who's gonna have your eyes really sharp so you can swoop down when you need to? And who's gonna have their intuition open so you can get yourself to the flower that has nectar? And this little girl is still inside us, and she wants to come out. All right. Okay, that's good. All right. So you can sit back down. And I encourage you, anytime you feel discouraged, anytime you feel like things are not going well for you, just remember to go back to your inner child and just soothe her and just be the person that your inner child was always looking for support. Okay, so we all said yes, right? So who has a but? Yes, but. Let's make that an and. Let's change all our buts to ands, okay? What does the voice in our head say? It may be giving a lot of different excuses. And sometimes it's not very useful to try to argue with yourself, because there'll always be another but. Maybe the interesting question is, who is binding us to all these excuses? Who is the key to our shackles? Shackles is like, do you know what shackles is? Yeah? It's like somebody just holding you tight, like a handcuff. So who's doing that? Huh?
Me.
Yourself? Yeah. So the question is why? Who made you the jailer of you? And how can we be our own ally? How can we be our own friends? How can we be that person that our inner child really wants to be our own support? So let's see. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my path. My path is the trail of miracles that brought me here. And my path ahead is the trail of possibilities that I have in front of me. The trail of miracles started from when I was in my mom's womb. And till today, she calls me a miracle child. Because I forget how many weeks, 20-something weeks, she started bleeding. And she went to the hospital, and she was bleeding for a few days. And the doctor told her that if you don't stop bleeding by this evening, we're going to have to abort your child. And my dad, for whatever superstitious reason, went and saw some Chinese medicine man and was told something very bizarre, like, go home and fix your bed because there's part of it that's broken. So, we don't know, right, what happened. But the result of it is my mom stopped bleeding. And so she credits it to that. And I'll just happily claim the title of Miracle Child. I won't argue with that. But what it does bring to mind for all of us is the miracles that had to happen for you to be here. How many things had to go right. How many millions of things that had to be in the right place at the right time for you to actually be here today. Besides your life, it's what brought you to Young Living, right? How many steps along the way, and this is kind of weird. My hair is weird. How many steps along the way did it take? When we talk about a Young Living family tree, it's like, well, then she enrolled her, well, then she enrolled her, and she enrolled her, and finally she enrolled me. So think about all the miracles, right? It is no accident that you are here today. And then think about what could happen when you leave this room today, the possibilities. When the hummingbird leaves its nest in the morning, it's going to go out there and look for nectar, right? It doesn't really know what's going to happen, but it's going to make sure that it goes where the possibilities are. So the trail of possibilities in front of me is huge. I know it's huge because I know I'm going to create it. And I am not going to be my own jailer, and I am not going to talk myself out of the joy that I want in my life. If I say yes to wanting joy, then why am I also telling myself I can't have it? So the freedom for my body, mind, and spirit is something I am working through. So when I say living a transformation to lead and serve others, I'm actually saying I may be one step ahead of you, but I'm not at the top of the mountain. I can maybe teach you about the things I've gone through because I'm going through it one step before you. And that transformation is really about, a lot of it is about letting go and shedding. So our accumulation of knowledge, accumulation of training and all of that, that's different. But when it comes to either the business of Young Living or just your own life, a lot of it is about letting go of what you thought was real. A lot of it is about letting go of the lies you're telling yourself and the lies you're holding on to. So I'm letting go of a lot of the lies I'm telling myself. One of them is that I am absolutely free. I just recently realized that maybe I'm not so free. Maybe I'm holding myself down in some areas of my life that I wasn't even aware of. So part of that is really having people in your life that are such dear souls to you that will give you unconditional love, but will also be brave enough to tell you your blind spots. So this is where we say always get a mentor, get a coach. Your leader is there for you to really help you see where you can't see, and to be willing to go there, right? And so for me, I recently realized, yeah, of course, I'm free to travel the world, I'm free to do whatever I want, but am I really free in my spirit? And am I really free in my mind? Have I been holding myself down in certain areas in my life? And I think the answer is yes. So I was like, punch in the gut. It's like, oh, I thought it was done. I'm a diamond after all. So somebody mentioned earlier, Anna says, there is no summit. It's just plane after plane after plane. You know, really, life is a journey. It's not the destination. But the beauty of it is we have embarked on a journey that has the community of support around us. And it's beautiful, because if we were alone in this endeavor, it's so hard for us to see what our blind spots are. So embrace that. Embrace the fact that there are people around you that want to help you, and accept that help without any self-judgment, right? Okay, so I know I didn't really tell you my story, but my story's like all over my blog and my website, and it's sort of like, you can go read it. And my story changes every day. That is actually part of the issue, because I'm living it. I'm living it every single day. So here's what the Wild family does for me. The feeling of isolation I used to have, now I have community. I used to feel so unsupported in my professional life, in my family life, in my friendships. Now I have my tribe leaders. Yeah. Fear. Oh, I feared for my children's immune system. I didn't trust it. I was like, right? I'm empowered with Young Living essential oils and the knowledge that it's all going to be okay because we have the magic essence of plants. When I used to be silent, now I have courage to speak up. Self-doubt, now I have self-love. And I used to be such a perfectionist, but now I embrace purity. Purity because we have the purest essential oils on the planet, and that purity has entered me. So they say what you eat is what you become. Well, what we put on our body, what we inhale is what we become. And these are plants that have been grown with love. These are plants that have been basking in sunlight and pure nature. And we're putting it on our bodies. And do you feel it? Because it's not just physical, right? It becomes this, wow, all of a sudden I feel this truth coursing through me. And it's powerful. Who else feels that? Yay! Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Cool. Okay, so that is a little bit of what I get from the Wild family. So much more, but I know you want to get there like yesterday. But really, it's a drop a day as a metaphor for let's take turtle steps. Okay. Sometimes when we rush things, we're not allowing it to unfold as it's meant for our highest good. So what is your deepest desire? You really need to know that. And again, it changes all the time. And this desire is not a physical want. It's not a need. It's a tugging at your heart. It's a feeling you get when, so let's say you helped somebody and you get that feeling within you, that lightness, that bliss, that joy, that feeling of flying. That's your deepest desire, right? It's finding those moments. So I want more of that. More of that is mostly about helping others. It's mostly about recharging in your quiet space. And find those moments. Pay attention to those moments. But where are you now? And how do you get there? So I'm also a yoga teacher, and I really subscribe to the idea of wherever you are, there you are. I mean, it's all about now. There is no other moment in this life that you can be except for now. And now that's gone, but now here it is, So be in the present, understand where those desires are fulfilled, and you will know to get there. So how do you know that? Well, let's talk through it. Well, before I go there, in my life, it's about living life in color. It's filling your life with color. So what that means is there are energetic centers within your body that's just amazing for guiding you in a systematic way of how to be and how to live. And so each of those energy centers have different colors, and it makes the rainbow. And that's sort of another magical thing in my life. I seem to see rainbows all over the world. I live in Hawaii, so it's the land of the rainbow. Even our license plates have rainbows on it. So it's not unusual that we see rainbows all the time. But to see full double rainbows is pretty amazing, and that happens. But when I went to the Philippines for the Young Living opening last year, I saw a rainbow out my window. And my friend who lives in the Philippines said, I've lived here all my life, and I've never seen a rainbow in Manila. It's like, oh, well, I saw it. I was on the way to Fiji the other day, and I looked out of the airplane, and I saw a circular rainbow. Those like perfect. I have pictures of it on my Facebook if you want to be friends with me. And then lots and lots of rainbows when I was on the island. I had a friend who stayed for a week after me, and he didn't see a single rainbow. So I don't know. I want to attract it. It's like that's my desire. Rainbows give me hope. It's a bridge in many ways. Again, metaphors. Okay, so I will go through 7 ways of living life in color. The first one is to be. Be what? Be your authentic self. Be present and grounded. And be a friend to your fear. And I've given you some examples of some oils I would use for that. And so I teach aroma yoga. If any of you are ever in Hawaii, come to my house. I teach sunset aroma yoga on my rooftop. I'll be there. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Let me know. With the view of the ocean and the sunset on the mountains. Oh my God. Yeah. So, what does this mean to be your authentic self? I, right now, am being my authentic self. When I said yes to this talk, I actually had a reason. I said, one of the things I want to cultivate in my life is preparation and organization. Because I'm a blue, which is party, party, party. But actually, I'm not really party, I'm just more social, yeah? And therefore, I don't think ahead, don't prepare. So I signed up for this thinking, oh, I need to work on this, therefore I'm going to do this. But you know what? I did it. I'm being my authentic self right now by not preparing, which is totally fine, because I did not feel it within me to practice and to make a speech. So this is all, to me, kind of, I'm the flow, and it's whatever needs to be said is being said because you need to hear it. Okay, be present and grounded and be a friend to your fear. I had an amazing experience in Fiji recently where I went diving for the first time in 19 years. So I was a rescue diver, and we had a refresher course in the swimming pool, and everything worked fine. But why we have the refresher course is we are preparing for disaster. So we take off the breathing regulator and use our emergency one, or we use our buddies. We take off our mask and we put it back on. And it's a little unnerving because it's water and you could drown, right? And you do this all in the pool, so you could shoot up if you wanted. So this is what happened. I was given a tank that had the regulator that didn't work. And the dive master changed the mouthpiece for me before we went down. We went down, first 5 meters, it started leaking. 5 meters is already pretty deep, and we're still going down. So my emergency regulator wasn't working either. So I had to use his emergency regulator while he was floating there, I was floating there. All you can hear is yourself breathing, and then he was trying to fix my thing. But we kept going down. It happened twice more. All the time, if I had not been prepared, and if I was not grounded and just being a friend to my fear, in fact, I didn't even feel fear. I just was right there. I would have maybe tried to shoot to the top and tried to get air, which meant I would have drowned. So the beauty of that is that when I survived it, I saw this amazing world of corals and fish and color, lots of color. And again, in my mind, it's like, yes, this is why I trained, this is why I do this is why I have to face my fear, you know? Because when you do dangerous things like rock climbing, I have another story, but I fell, but the rope caught me. Diving, you have to be so ready if something happens. So that's just another metaphor, right, for being trained. What if someone tells you something that you didn't prepare for? And sometimes that preparation is really about saying, I don't know that, I will go look that up for you. But if we didn't prepare mentally for saying that, we might end up saying something wrong, right? Or not wrong, there's never anything wrong, but something that doesn't encourage the other person to follow through. Okay, so be so grounded, and a lot of that is breathing techniques, and so I would encourage you to really start paying attention to your breath, like diving, it's all about breathing, and lengthening your exhale, because that activates your relaxation system. We want to be so relaxed in whatever we're doing that we don't get too flustered. So now we're so relaxed we can start creating. That's exactly what we're here for, is to create an amazing life for yourself. So create the flow. What does that mean? The flow is when things flow through easily. So imagine water being dammed up, and eventually, if we don't allow flow, the dam will burst, yeah? And when we're talking about flow, we're talking about emotions. We're talking about the ability, again, like the hummingbird, to change direction when necessary, and create the relationships and create the opportunities. So creating the relationships is really all about this reason we do this is because the people we care about, which really should be everybody, because love is the reason, love is the purpose. And we want to know, we want to always connect with people on a different level than just, here's a kid, you know? So people, we're all yearning for connection. And I would venture to say, many of you love the fact that we have a Young Living family, right? I mean, do you feel like, oh wow, I belong to something? And that's how we want to live this life, is to include and not exclude. So include people, even if you think they're never gonna buy a kid from you, because you never know. Somebody who says no today may say yes 20 years later, but that's their timing, it's fine. But you are not here to separate prospects from others. It's everyone. And of course, there's all the other nuances around it, which is, you know, oh, don't have toxic people in your life, or the top 5 people you spend time with are, you know, reflections of you. You know how to discern all that. Honestly, I would say you are the light. You're gonna shine the light. And if someone is like intimidated by that light, they will go away. You don't have to make any choices or say, I will be friends with her, but I won't be friends with her. So, and creating the opportunities is a lot about, again, that voice in your head. If it's making lots of excuses, you know, try to think outside the box, right? What opportunity can I find in this puzzle that I have to crack today? And a lot of that is practice, but also, again, with the people that you hang out with, are they curious? Are they inspired? Are they going through life with this open eyes and wanting to crack the code? Because I would venture to say, if we can stay present to every little problem in our life, I wouldn't even call them problems, because I believe every experience is meant to teach you something. And if you can extract the gift from those experiences, then you have like a clue. Here's a clue. What's the next step up? You know, so life becomes a game of deep play. So again, that infinity loop of rest and create is play. Rest and play and rest and play. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So then, some of you will know the chakras. We're up to the solar plexus right now, and this is where we do. How many times have you heard somebody say, I have all these ideas, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and then nothing? Like, where's the action? Right? So they say action speaks louder than words. And then also, how many times have you had somebody who does all the time, but they don't be, right? And so what we want to do is we want to do what feels right when the timing is right. And you want to do it for the right reasons. And you want to do it in harmony with the environment. So when I say environment, I mean your circumstance, things around you. What feels right when the timing is right? That only you can answer. And they say yoga is a union of body and mind. And maybe you've heard of the mind-body practice or mind-body like energetic connection. Your body never, ever lies. And actually, if you consider that our body is really here to protect us all the time, and there's a difference between it telling you that's not right and it telling you, oh, that feels like I'm flying. That feels like when I'm light and soaring. So I want more of that. So I'm going to do that more. And there are people out there that make decisions based on how their body feels. So it's a little bit like muscle testing. Muscle testing is like asking ourselves, should we go ahead, should we not, you know, and our body responds. But this is feeling into it. And it might show up in different areas, and it also might actually show you where you have energetic blocks. And you could work on that. So doing it in harmony is sort of like, who has heard of the phrase, a bull in a china shop? Like a bull in a china shop, yeah? Mm-hmm. So that's, you're this big bull, and the china is like little teacups. And you're in a shop with all these teacups around, but you're like banging everything. So that is not in harmony, right? Harmony is really about, you know, like singing. Who wants to plug their ears when it's not in harmony? You can tell. So there's that, there's also the quantum effects of harmony. Do you know what that means? Synergy. So where 1 + 1 is no longer 2. 1 + 1 becomes 4, 5. And actually, so when one instrument plays, it's that volume. Another instrument plays in harmony, it's that volume. And they play together, it becomes much more than just each on its own. And that, has anybody read Dr. David Stewart's work? The chemical, what is it? Yeah, okay. He talks a lot about essential oils being a packet of possibilities. So again, the trail of possibilities going forward. With what intent you put into the essential oil is the possibility of what it could become. And so that gets into the quantum world, which is so fascinating, but we won't do that here. So now we go to the heart chakra, where we start to serve. A leader serves their people, and they serve with love, they serve with compassion, and you serve your heart above all. Okay, so what that means is we heard a lot of talk about helping people, and if we're held back by our fear, then we really start to question, why are we doing this? Are we doing this because we want to like pour our love into our friend, or are we doing this because, oh really, she can feel my need for that $50 for the PSK, you know? So most of the time, unfortunately, it's not the other person, it's yourself. So we need to always look back at ourselves. If we think, oh, that person thinks that I am in this for the money, then ask yourself, do you think you're in this for the money? And the curious thing is, many times we, like I said, we're the one holding our shackles, right? But if we can turn things around in our thought process, it's interesting how we are the ones doing it to ourselves. So serving your heart above all really means you are the most important person in this whole life of yours. Doesn't that make sense? I mean, are we here to exist for others, or are we here to really nurture ourselves so that we can help others, right? So your heart actually speaks to you so much, and that's where you can really start to make sure that you nurture yourself. And nurturing yourself is not just like, ooh, I had a bath last night, and I put some lavender Epsom salts in there, which is great. That's what we want to do, but we want to use the oils every day anyway. Serving our heart really means honoring ourselves. If there's something that bugs you and you know it, but you feel compelled to do it because everybody else is doing it, or that's what my leader trained me on, nobody else does it differently. Well, I'll tell you, I do it very differently, but I'm serving my heart, and I'm happy. Oh, and by the way, all the oils, I didn't mention them, it's all there. I would love to send this file to people if they want. Yeah. And that really means if that's not resonating with you, then let's use that oil to help you get there. You know? So communicate. This is our throat, yeah? How many times have you tried to be vulnerable and authentic, and then this lump starts coming, and you're like, oh, I can't speak. That is our energy center, and we need to, again, create that flow. So communicate your truth, communicate with yourself, communicate by listening. What that means is, are you allowing people to step all over you? Are you allowing people to tell you what to do? And communicating your truth is not about arguing, so don't take it the wrong way. It's really about honoring the person you are communicating with, and in your most loving kindness way, tell them how you feel. And you're not telling them how they feel, you're telling them how you feel, regardless of what you think they feel. Everything is sort of about you and your own self-growth, really. Somebody else, I mean, how many times have we heard, oh, my husband won't do this, or my friend just can't get it. Well, actually, it's none of our business. It's really none of our business what somebody else is going through. We can be here to help them, but we can only change ourselves, right? And that when we change ourselves, somehow it creates a ripple. And just your very presence can sometimes bring someone to their most vulnerable truth if we are standing in our own truth. So communicate with yourself. This is really, really interesting. There are different parts of us, like I said, and if we can start a journaling exercise or a talking exercise, but with every single part of us, the amount of stuff you will discover about yourself is powerful, so powerful. So in my workshops, I do some of this where we start journaling. So say the first one is, let's talk to our fear. And if you guys have heard of Liz Gilbert, she wrote Big Magic, beautiful book. She talks about that too. So then some would say, well, I don't want to talk to my fear. It talks too much. I'm shutting it down. I don't want to talk to my fear. But you know what the irony is? And really, life is full of paradoxes. The more we allow our fear to speak, the more it will dissipate. And the more we will realize, oh, that wasn't so bad. What, that's what you're scared about? That's so silly, you know? But if we suppress it, we make it bigger than it really is. So communicate by listening. I am very much a teacher, so I like to go on and on and on and on. And this is something I need to really cultivate in myself, and that's listening. So I recently finished a course in life coaching, and I'm hoping to get certified in it pretty soon. But it was so foreign to me, because teaching and coaching are two completely different things, right? Coaching is helping you come up with your answers, because only you know it. I don't know your answers. And I may teach you a certain concept, but I need to listen to you for you to guide me on how I can guide you to your answer, right? So all of you will be leaders that will need to coach. And it's no longer about teaching them, because that is a different part of it. It's like, we have all these training videos, go look at it. And now we have to listen to them. We have to listen and find where their blind spots are, and you're gonna have to communicate it, and you're gonna ask yourself, is it true, is it kind, is it necessary when you start speaking? Okay, so this is our third eye. So we can see the bigger picture, the vision. And part of what we do here is about transferring belief. How we transfer belief is we have to be so strong in our own vision. And we're gonna help people catch the vision. So what is your vision? You need to see it. You need to really see it. And then you need to see and value others. I want you to turn to your neighbor, and I want you to tell them, I see you, I hear you, I value you, and I'm so glad you came. Okay, thank you. So, and then the last one is see your higher self. So your higher self is also maybe your inner child that was still innocent and actually knew really who you were back then, before you accumulated all the things in your backpack that you're carrying with you in your life. So see your higher self and value your higher self. The final thing we can do is to connect. Connect to nature, and we're doing that right now. Every time we inhale an essential oil, we're connecting to nature. Connect to source energy. Whatever that means for you, there is this energy swirling around that we know is bigger than just us. And then connect to the legacy of you. And to finish my talk, I want to do a visualization. So I want you to stand up. And I want you to turn to your left. So everybody, close your eyes, and we're going to be so quiet. Start to visualize. You are standing in a doorway to a huge football stadium. And in this football stadium, there is your enroller and your enroller's enroller and your enroller's enroller's enroller. So this stadium is going to fill with all the people that came before you in Young Living. It's going to fill the whole stadium because Young Living has 6 million members worldwide. And you're recognizing now this full stadium, the trail of miracles that had to happen right up to you standing in the doorway. Okay? So send a little gratitude to all these people who took the leap of courage to start flying, to spread their wings. Okay, now you're going to turn to your right. Again, close your eyes. You're standing in the doorway of this amazing, huge football stadium. Now you're going to start populating this football stadium with all the people, one by one, that you have spoken to. That you have spread your wings and told them about Young Living. This football stadium is going to fill up very rapidly because you decided to spread your wings. So the trail of possibilities right in front of you right now. In 5 years, I've managed to fill that football stadium to 23,000 people. And again, granted, I've only enrolled 200 people in my 5 years, but it was because of everyone else that spread their wings, right? But you know what? You had to spread yours first. You had to start that chain. So send a little greeting to these people in your football stadium and tell them, I am flying to you. Okay, thank you all.